Yes, so good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for having me. And I'm so sorry that I can't be in person because I have something with Austria because my aunt and my uncle and my nieces and nephews, they live in Linz, and I've also studied in Linz as well, Linz University for half year. So every time when I come back, it feels a little like home. But hopefully next year we can meet. I'm Ziryan, and I'm a Scrum facilitator. I'm a professional Scrum trainer and owner of Scrum Facilitators and SF Professionals. And today we will be talking about how we set up an organization trying to apply a lot of agile practices. Because obviously in our daily jobs, we don't only train, but we also help organizations become more agile. And how much fun is it to say, well, if we can start all over, how should we do it? How should we start the organization the agile way? So before I start, so the organization that we're talking about is SF Professionals, and SF Professionals has been founded last year, October. And usually when organizations are founded, you have a whole process, right? So you create some research, you create a plan, you go to the bank to loan some money and stuff like that. So that whole process, and then you go to the Chamber of Commerce, you write, so you become an own organization, and then you can finally start. So that process usually takes around like half year because you have your marketing stuff in it as well. You have to find a location and so on. So that process usually takes a lot of time. So I'm going to take you on this process on how we did it. Before I say that, let me just say that I'm not the sole owner. So I'm the co-owner together with Jasper and Hong. So those are my my partners, actually. And as we speak, they are here having a session, and I'll explain to you what kind of session it is. So that's why they couldn't join, but they are in mind. They are here as well. Okay. So how we started? We started actually with a brainstorm. We said, all right, what if we have an organization where there is Scrum Masters, product owners, and developers who act as professional Scrum? You know, they are good at their job and they are really change agents. All right, yeah, that sounds awesome. That sounds cool. Yeah, how can we validate stuff? So the first thing that we did actually was, just announce something on LinkedIn and say, hey, we're three Scrum facilitators. We're starting our own brand. Just keep in touch and hear how things are going. And based on that, based on the feedback that we received, we kind of felt like, okay, is it feasible? Is it not feasible? So we got a lot of positive reactions, and then we're like, okay. And now we still didn't go to the Chamber of Commerce. And then we said, okay, let's see if people, obviously, when on LinkedIn, people are usually very enthusiastic, but will they want to join our organization or not? So what we did is we created a website, a very basic website, and another LinkedIn post to see what was going on. And we also thought about, okay, so how can we attract people? So what would be our core values? And let me just take you on a few stuff, because we are inspired by autonomy, mastery, and purpose, Daniel Pink, because we really believe those are the elements of professionalism. So we said, okay, so what are things in organizations that you usually have? You have limited holidays. Let's change that, because these are professionals, right? So unlimited holidays. We said, okay, so if you have an assignment, primarily goal is that you support your personal goals. And then the money will come afterwards. And after that, we also said, we have like maximum, Pong is joining here as well. We have a maximum of 80% billability. So that means that if you're working 40 hours, you have a 40-hour contract, you're only allowed to be at the customer for 4 days in a week. While usually with consulting organizations, it's a minimum of 4 days a week, and usually even more. But we say, no, it's a maximum because we want you to really focus on a reflection, on introspection, and just get to rest, right? And of course, flexible expand coverage. And with the mastery, and that's one of the important ones as well, we are professional Scrum trainers with Scrum facilitators. So we said, you know, free Scrum.org courses, because yeah, it's our own organization as well. And why just unlimited training budget? Because we trust you that you are a professional and you're adults. You wouldn't spend any money that's just to get a training which is worthless. So we trust you in that. And you get coaching on the job from the 3 partners. And you also have the ability to co-train with us and also facilitate meetings. And then we go to the purpose. And one thing with purpose that we believe is really important is transparency, because transparency helps us, all right, you know, let's have full transparency on everything within the organization, on salary, on income, on anything, but only within the organization, right? Because then you can decide, imagine if you have insight in the financial state of your organization, you can also make better decisions whether you should get a training or not, or you should take more days off or not, right? And we really focus on reaching your personal goals. That's very important for us. And you might say, all right, okay. And then they were enthusiastic because these are all, you know, it's, oh man, I want to work there. What happens? What happens? What we did actually was we created a simple website. And in that website, we only said, all right, just fill in a form with 5 questions. And this is in Dutch, so allow me to translate a little. So the first question is, all right, before we start, how should we call you? Well, you can call me Ziryan. All right. Nice to meet you, Ziryan. Thank you for taking time to react. Let's start with what we are for. So explaining a little what we stand for. If it sounds good, you continue. And a little more about ourselves. Continue. And then we ask them, okay, so what are your key elements, right? So what are you good at? Imagine a product owner. So I'm a product owner. All right. How long have you been a product owner? Let's say 3 years. And then we get to the interesting question, because we don't ask any CVs. And that's, this actually replaces the CV, because we say, we want to have a conversation with you, but we want some information for the conversation. So the question is, give an example on how you help the organization change from your accountability, from your role. And maybe just fill in something. And then we ask you, what do you really like about your role as a product owner in this case? And the last questions, why do you want to work for SF professionals? So intrinsic motivation is very important here. And basically, and how does a successful collaboration look like? That's it. So those are the things that we ask of potential candidates. And as you see, there's no CV, there's no nothing. So how does the process continue after that? The process continues like we have a short Zoom call just to get to know each other, 30 minutes, how you're doing, and so on and so on. And then we have a meet and greet. And in this meet and greet, this is the most beautiful part. Everybody who has applied, we have a 1 day or a half day meet and greet where we show transparency on our organization, like where do we stand for? What is our financial state? What is our financial forecast? What do our employees say? What are our beliefs? So we show full transparency on us as organizations. And the second part of this meet and greet is actually seeing the future employees at work. So we have some workshops, some games, just to see, not about knowledge, but about how are you, how do you interact with each other, and so on and so on. And then at the end of the day, we have a UX fishbowl, which is a facilitation technique. And within that facilitation technique, we discuss how it went. First, the candidates, they can discuss their feelings, what they think about us, and what they feel is good and what isn't. And then we are having a conversation on, okay, what did we think of the process? What do we see the strengths and where do we see the weaknesses? And ideally, at the end of the day, we can have a match like, okay, is it worth continuing the conversation, and or should we say, well, not yet? From both sides, it's an equal thing. So the future employees can decide, well, it was nice, thank you for the lunch and the drinks, but I don't see myself working here. And also from us, hey, yeah, maybe there's not a right fit, or there's a right fit. And in case if there's a right fit, then they will get this. This is the contract. And as you can see, it's a 2-page contract only, right? And they get it empty. Empty. Yeah, they get it empty. Because what we believe, let me just here. What we believe is that you have looked into our wallet, right? You know what we stand for, you know what we can afford. Now, take this contract, go home, have a conversation at home, and decide what do you actually need? What is it that you need? And fill it in and come back to us. That's the other way around, right? Because usually it's like, okay, we want to have you, and this is what we can offer you. We turn it around, taking ownership, right? Okay, so you tell us what you want to earn, what your primary and secondary gain in salary is, and then we can have a conversation with each other. So then, with that signed contract, we go to our accountant and we make a match. And if I briefly guide you through the contract, it's deliberately empty. Like I said, they can decide their own salary. Of course, we check it whether it's feasible or not. We tell them, what do you need to really be able to work from home? Is that a chair? Is that money? Is that whatever? It's up for you to decide. We give you the opportunity to think about it. And chill time. We say you have unlimited holidays, right? But there's this boundary that you have to use 20 days at a minimum. And why we have done that? Because there are more organizations who have unlimited holidays. But based on research, it says organizations who have unlimited holidays, employees tend to take less days off than if they don't have unlimited holidays. And we, as partner with that, I don't think this is this is right. This won't balance out the health and the organization part. So so you have to take 20 days off at a minimum, and more. It's up to you to discuss together with the other employees as well. So as you can see, it's actually really free, so they can decide what is needed for them. And the philosophy behind it is, if we put the issue of money off the table, we can work on important stuff. Yeah. And also in that, we are very, very transparent, because how do we decide if what they are asking, what our future employees are asking, if it's feasible or not? So we have this this Excel sheet where we cover, let me see, where we cover like, okay, based on your salary, how many hours are you available for the customer? We calculate with 45 weeks. Could be less, could be more, but let's calculate 40. And what are the wage costs for employer, right? And then we have the insurance for the illness, the liability insurance, travel, other expenses, and so on. And then, because we are fairly new, we calculate with an hourly income of 75 euros. And what we say is the balance should be positive. And if it's above 10%, then it's a go, right? If it's between 10 and 5, then we have a discussion with each other to see, all right, can we get it to 10, or is there any added, more added value that we see is for in the future? And if it's below, then we say, in the discussion that we have, we tell them, we really like you, we would really love to have you here, but hey, what you're asking, we can't pay you. And we show them this Excel as well, because that's transparency, right? We show them and we tell them, well, we will make a loss, and we just started and we cannot afford to make a loss right now. So we thought having at least 10% profit margin should be enough to cover cover the risks. Probably when you're at the customer, the hourly rate will be higher, but let's just assume this is it. So this is something that we do as well, showing the full transparency on how stuff are, right? And then what I like to show you is actually we have now 3 employees, and as we speak, there are 4 new future employees, possible future employees, who have meet and greets at the moment. So that's very awesome. But we also said, okay, so everything is transparent, but what should we do with our salaries, right? Because we are the owners of the organization, and we decided not to be on the balance, so we don't pay ourselves salary. And all right, so how do you get the money then, right? Okay, so what we decided is, if we make profit as an organization, then we should get paid. But not only us, everybody should benefit from it. So one of the things that we are doing now is we say, okay, at the end of the year, we make this balance, right? And within that balance, we find out, okay, how many profit have we made this year? And then we calculate, okay, so what is the minimum buffer that we need to maintain a healthy organization, to stay a healthy organization? And we have this talk with our employees as well. And based on that, what remains, we split it into 4. So 25% goes to me, 25% goes to Hong, and 25% goes to Jasper. and 25% goes back to the employees. And it's up to them to decide how they can split the 25%. Yeah. So in everything, we try to involve them. We try to create transparency. And there's actually one story I want to tell you, because one of our employees, we were looking for an assignment for him. So there were two organizations he had to talk to and said, all right, we want to have you here. And one organization was paying 15 euros an hour more than the other. And then the employee came to us and said, yeah, which one should I choose? So, all right. So the most important thing for us is that how much can you learn? Which organization do you see yourself delivering the most value, being the most happy? Because obviously it's 32 hours being at the organization. And that was the organization with the lower hourly rate. And we chose that because we really believe that employees should be happy where they are, and then the income will come gradually. So those are very, very cool stuff as well. And just to let you know, now this is a story where everything went good, right? This is a story where you say, oh yeah, this sounds like a model organization, and this is how it should be. But we have our struggles as well. And one of the struggles that we have is balancing out what we as leaders should decide, and how much autonomy can we provide our employees, right? So we are struggling with that a lot. Like, should they be considered, or should they be full partner in our purpose? Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, haven't really thought about it. Or what do we do when an employee comes to us and says and asks us and wants us to make a decision? Should we take it to the team, like, okay, discuss it, or is it something that is expected from us as leaders to make decision? But those are tough ones as well. Another thing is, we say, okay, we have autonomy to the employees, but what is expected from us as leaders of the organization or as directors? Should we arrange like holiday presents or any other stuff if we want to move from office? So from one office to the other office, is that something that we should decide on ourselves? Should we discuss it with them and get their input, but we're the ones to decide? Or should it be together we decide? And that's we're struggling a lot with, because sometimes we noticed that the balance was a lot going to, hey, with the 6 of us, we should all agree. And then we got the feedback and saying, yeah, I really like the idea, but honestly, this is something that you should agree on yourself. So those are also the struggles. Or and so we are trying to figure stuff out. We are trying to say, well, you know, we are now with the 3 of us, and 3 employees. Yeah, if one of them is ill, for example, then we don't have any income. All right, can we financially, how long can we maintain this? And if we grow, how fast should we grow? Should we have one new employee in 3 months, or should it be 4 months every month, or whatever? And how do we maintain our own culture? So those are things that we are also really struggling with. Yeah. And now I'm also curious to hear from all of you, if you listen to this story, right? Is there anything that you say, well, Ziryan, how did you cope with X? So then you can ask any questions you like.
So,
hi, thank you for your talk. I have one question. How you deal with the a gender gap or a character gap or coming from a business gap when you can choose your own salary? So I guess there will be a big difference. Yeah, and how you deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually, thank you for the question. It's a really interesting question because currently we also have some salary gaps. But what we try to do is once there are employees, the salary and the contract, like this one, so is fully transparent. So everyone can see each other's contract, and we try to create an environment in which, because we sit together every 2 weeks on a Friday, we have the honest discussion with each other, and we try to get the issue of money off the table, because it's all transparent. And until now, there haven't been any discussions. Hey, why do I get less than my colleague because we both do the same? And this is a funny one. And one of our employees has been here one year, and we promote that if you want salary increase or whatever, don't wait until the end of the year, just speak out, because then we can discuss with each other. But this was an okay moment to have the discussion, and then we noticed that unlike in the beginning, we as directors, we were doing the conversation to see what would be possible. So that was for us was a risk of, hey, wait, are we being transparent to the other colleagues like there is something going on? And if we maintain this, maybe there will be a gap where people don't feel satisfied because they are not involved. And involved can also be in the sense of, okay, our colleague is asking for 500 euros extra a month. We are now figuring out with the accountant to see what is possible and what is not. So that was an insight from us. Okay, so we should make that more transparent, because we believe if it's transparent, then the professionals will discuss together as well. Does that answer help?
thanks for the talk. I have one question related to your share. So how do you handle it if it's flexible and you never know what you will get? You have a big backlog and you expect the best?
Yeah, that's true. We are lucky because we are also providing training, and we are also doing our own consulting within companies. So what we said, okay, because we are with the three of us, we give fair attention to the organization, but we earn our daily income on our own assignments. And that makes it a little easier, because I can imagine that if the first year, we didn't make any money. The second year, because we are now only with the three of us, or actually this is the first year, if we remain with the three of us, the profit that we can share amongst each other will not be that much that we can cover our own financial or personal financial state. But because we have a consulting on the side, it goes to our own organization, or my own organization, that helps that I don't need to, I can cope with that flexibility of when the profit can be shared. And the thing is, what we also said, okay, why not just hand out salary, or why not add your consulting fee and consulting income also in this organization, because you will grow a lot more. From experience with different people which I talked to, it says, Ziryan, if you have multiple owners, if one of them is earning the money and the other one is doing marketing promotional stuff as well, you will get in, there will be an unbalance. If everything is okay, that's not a problem. But what do you do if you need to spend time on how to say, on creating a vision or other stuff? You have to arrange the website, you have to arrange things. Then it is expected from me as well. But because then there is this unbalance, I might have the feeling, hey, but wait a minute, you are doing marketing here. I'm 4 days at the customer. What do you expect from me? So that was why we said, okay, let's not give each other a salary, and we do our own consulting. We do on the side, and that is enough for us to cover the personal costs as well. And that gives us flexibility that we can cope with the profits margins as well. Do we have
a question?
Yes.
Thank you very much. This problem could be solved by no CV steps in comparison with CV evaluation.
Yeah. What we notice is that when we get a CV, and that's for me as well. When I get a CV, it's a look in the past, and I don't get the feeling that I really get to know someone, and it invites me to be judgmental, whether it's positive, whether it's negative. So that dilutes from looking into who the person really is, because hardly in a CV you see, for example, that there was a failed project. And what we are really interested in is, okay, who are you as a person and how do you deal with stuff, right? And to give a concrete example, our first employee was actually, we hired him. He has more than 30 years experience in as an entrepreneur, helping organizations, especially in the retail area, but he doesn't have any agile experience. Not as a Scrum Master, not as a product owner, not as a developer, nothing. But he felt like, okay, I've read about it and this is where I want to go, but no company wants to hire me because I don't have any agile experience in my CV. But because we didn't look at the CV, we had a conversation with them and we saw, all right, this is someone with the attitude and behavior that we are looking for as a professional, and with the mindset that we have on hire on attitude, train on skills. And the attitude here was really, really awesome. And he is, and because we can provide the skills easily, there was a lot more. But he already had leadership skills as well. So that's the benefit or the problem that we are trying to solve on not asking a CV, is so that we can have the honest conversation about who are you, what is your attitude, how do you behave, so what drives you. And that's also the few questions that we have are also about the intrinsic motivation. And that's usually what you cannot find in CV. At least that's my experience.
Are there more questions?
Seems not.
So what I also have is, if you're interested in the contract, it's freely available. So it's also on our website. It's in Dutch, but please allow me to translate it to English as well. And I want to share why I feel like applying for this talk, because we believe that most organizations can really benefit from putting the employees first, like listening to the needs of the employees and then validate with what is and what isn't possible from organization point of view. Right? The market is changing. The market is not like you should be happy that you work for us. No, it's like we should be happy that you want to work for us. And that's a whole different approach, a more, to my perspective, a more humanizing approach in where you lay the responsibility and accountability on a professional. And we are only here to support you. And if we support you well enough, it will pay back on the organization.
Okay. So at the end. Thank you, Ziryan.
Thank you so much. And if there's anything I can help you with, feel free to reach out on LinkedIn or on email.
Okay. And see you in Austria.
Hope to see you next year in Austria, and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Okay, thank you. Have a nice time.
Bye-bye.